Hey, I'm Matt, and welcome to my first ever video on YouTube. I'm going to start off with a shop tour, and as you can see behind me, it's not in very good shape. The plan of this YouTube channel is to sort of show you how I take an unorganized, uneventful shop to something a little bit more constructive, and how I sort of optimize things as we go. You are currently in my two-car garage with this little alcove at the front of it, and it actually houses two cars on a daily basis. For the purpose of this video, there are no cars in the garage, so I can show you all the different sections of the garage that I do have. So why don't I start that off? Here we are on the left side of the garage. As you can see, I have a whole bunch of extension cords lined up here, very organized. I have the axe up top for chopping wood, moving a little bit further along, an assortment of different screws and drills, as well as I guess you can say the early stages of a charging station. I do actually want to get it away from the window because it's not that great for batteries, but so far haven't had that much difficulty with it, so it's probably going to stay like that for a little bit. So moving along the wall here, we have a lot of outdoor tools, some chainsaw safety equipment, a couple of levels, 6 foot, 4 foot, and I also have my drywall square along with a right angle or 6 foot saw cutting jig from Craig, and then the ladders, of course. On this side, we're going to continue on into the alcove. I do have some MDF for a future upcoming project that I hope to use it for, and keep going. So moving on from the ladders behind me, we have the wood lathe, we have the bench sander with the belt sander and the disc sander. We also have the grinder with a coarse and a fine grinding stone. We have a little rotary tool behind me here with a larger router down here. Also have a bench top drill press, which is currently on the floor, along with a table saw jig that I made to sort of act as a jointer. And then over on this side, I also have a biscuit joiner that I use that I've used for different projects. No, I do not use these down here on the shelf on the lathe. I actually do have to lift and move them onto the bench each time. Once again, not a very efficient setup. However, it's what I have for the moment. Moving on from the lathe area, just above it, we have some lathe tools, a couple more levels, some pry bars, some saws, some circular saw blades, hammers, chisels or hand chisels, some router accessories, and then we also have a lot of squares down in the corner there, and a lot of miniature clamps up at the top here. As everyone says, for woodworking you can never have enough clamps. I definitely do not have enough clamps. So moving on with the tool wall, we have some more safety gear, ear protection, eye protection, and then a mask as well. There's also a couple of chainsaw blades in there. Those need to be sharpened with a sharpening kit. I have some quick trigger clamps up at the top here. The tool wall was not put together with any type of system in mind. As tools arrived, they sort of just got placed up there. It's one of the things I want to do is to reorganize how it looks. Your screwdrivers, your pliers, your vice grips, you have your mechanical tools and your wrenches for cars and things like that. Metal snips. Obviously there's a radio to keep things going on in the garage. And then you also have a bin with tools in here as well as different sockets and gloves and other miscellaneous items. So below the workbench, there's a shelf here where I have socket wrenches, impact wrenches, drills. I also have an air framing gun. Further along, you can't see it in the video, but I have a car jack, electrical wire, my big box of screws and nails. There's a shop vac here, and then there's also my DeWalt 735 planer here. As you can tell, there's a small section on the workbench that's actually usable at the moment. I don't have a lot of space to work, so it's sort of a dump all, and things gets cluttered up quite quickly, which is one of the reasons why I want to organize the shop. So as you continue around, we have the 10-inch miter saw, which actually is a sliding miter saw. and dual beveling on either side. Underneath, we have another storage cabinet for more tools and miscellaneous items. As we continue along, in the alcove here, there's actually a larger shop vac stored away in the corner, and that's the one that I mainly use, that has the long hose on it. Beside that, we actually have the quiet air compressor that's plugged in and attached to this reel for 50 feet of accessibility, so it actually allows me to do basically anything, any air tools I want in the shop or on the cars in the garage, which is nice, so I don't have to move the air compressor around. And there's actually a secondary air compressor in the back underneath there that's not currently being used. Also underneath the steps, there's a whole bunch of wood storage that I'm currently keeping under there, and it stores rags, there's a chainsaw and things like that. Right beside the air hose is obviously my table saw. This was a hand-me-down. It does what I needed to do. Would I like a new one? Yes. Will I get one? I don't know. There will be some projects on the table saw to do some sleds and potentially table extension on it, as well as doing proper dust collection, because right now it just all falls out the bottom with the different slats on the side. Beside the table saw, I have a mobile workbench. This actually gets used a lot more than most people would anticipate because of the small amount of work I have here. I quite often will take this out and either put a larger sheet on it or use a couple of sawhorses with a piece of plywood on it. Beside that, I actually have a shop heater. This is a beast. It actually heats the shop up very, very well. But only if I'm going to be in here for a long period of time, say over an hour or something like that. It's a minimum of 70,000 BTUs, so to actually use it, I have to take the cars out of the garage because I don't want to risk damaging the paint. So around the corner from the stairs, we actually have the central vac for the house, which is actually not connected at the moment. That's one of the things that I want to do is reconnect that back to the house because it was actually located on the other wall next to the stairs. I have a stand for the miter saw for whenever I'm working out in the yard or anything like that. It actually comes in handy quite a bit. And then I just have a bunch of tool bins here with assorted items. As you can see, I'm storing longer lumber here as well, just because it's kind of out of the way and the cars don't quite get there. And then obviously just regular garbage and stuff below. So as we get to the last section of the garage, we're actually all the way over on the right side now. Just a couple of shelves on the wall. This is mostly where all my sanding items are. I have a couple of Orbital sanders, a palm sander, a couple of belt sanders, a whole bunch of sanding discs, a couple of staplers, an oscillating tool, a reciprocating saw, a grinder, an angle grinder, and then some excess wood storage along here. When we come to the very end here, this is where a lot of my sheet goods are stored. Plywoods, any type of long material that needs to stay up against the wall is mounted here, and it stays out of the way quite nicely. Can be a little bit of a pain to sort of get to, but right now it's working. That pretty much concludes my introductory shop tour. For those of you who are expert craftsmen out there, you're probably cringing at some of the things you saw and or heard. I'm by no means an expert and a hobbyist at this, but an enthusiastic one. So if anyone has any ideas or recommendations for what I could potentially do in the space that I do have, please feel free to reach out and let me know. Other than that, I hope to see you back on my channel soon. Thanks!